Hello YouTubers, and welcome to my channel, Torontopia. Today's video is a bus ride along Lawrence Avenue West from Keele to the Lawrence West station. I'm not a suburban guy, but I saw an ad in a newspaper of a furniture sale going on in this area, so I decided to hop on the TTC and trek out to the wilds of Suburbia and see what kind of deals they had out there. I actually grew up in Suburbia in North York, not too far east of here, but I haven't been downtown for a while. I've been living in the downtown core for a long time, long before it became the in thing to do. I've always been more of a downtown guy than a suburbanite. Even when I was a kid, I used to love to go downtown, and I never wanted to go back to North York. So I'm up here in North York, and this is basically a ride from Keele and Lawrence along Lawrence Avenue. Certainly hasn't changed much from when I used to live in the area. There's a few new condos and stuff, but not really a big change the way downtown Toronto is changing. So this is basically a ride from Keele all the way down to the Lawrence West subway station, which isn't really a far drive. It's like a 10-minute bus ride. A lot of apartment buildings lining the streets here. Nothing too tall, although I did notice that there have been a few taller buildings on major intersections. This was filmed on a Sunday, so the TTC was not very crowded. I didn't have to stand on any buses or on the subway. The best time to take the subway, because during the week, if you take a subway in Toronto, it's crazy, way overpacked, especially the Yonge subway line, although I took the Spadina line. So these are just basically the residential areas on the main street there. Lawrence is one of the main streets in Toronto, and you'll see retail developments at key corners. But for a lot of the street, it's just mainly residential houses, which is one of the reasons I really don't like walking in Suburbia, because even on main streets, it's mostly lined with residential apartment buildings and houses. And I really like streets that are lined with animation. So basically stores or bars or restaurants, or, you know, things that just make an area lively and vibrant, and you don't see too much of that in the suburbs. So I've always liked the downtown core, because basically wherever you go in downtown Toronto, you're almost guaranteed that all the major streets are going to be lined with restaurants and stores, and we're going to have lots and lots of people, including at night, where a lot of other cities are dead after 6 o'clock. Downtown Toronto is definitely not. There's still people out till 10, 11, you know, midnight. There's a nice mural, which is nice to see. It's nice to see that, you know, there's more and more art pieces all around the city, and not just in the downtown core. This area is a warehouse area. It used to be a factory area. There used to be a lot of factories in the area. I think most of the factories have now left, and now it's just mostly warehouses. And there's also some discount shopping places there, some clearance centers, that I'm going to actually go down and make a video of that one of these days soon. I'm going to go down during sometime in the summer. I'm going to head out to, I think it's Orpheus Road. That's where all the discount shopping places are. And check out and see what kind of discount sales they have and what kind of merchandise they offer. I haven't been down in that area for a while, but it's always interesting to go check out and see what kind of new things are opening, because there's always new stores. Well, it's mostly big warehouse stores, clearance centers that are down there, but they always have all kinds of crazy junk you can look through and find all kinds of deals. This was called, I'm not sure what the name of it is, but we used to call it Reservoir Park. It's a huge, pretty empty park, and I don't remember seeing a reservoir there or any water, but I remember the name Reservoir Park. In this part of Toronto, you don't see a lot of people walking. Almost everybody uses cars to get around. And that's basically what my family did. We used to hop in the car to go to McDonald's or Burger King, or to go to Yorkdale, Lawrence Plaza, all the different shopping areas nearby. So most people, you don't see a lot of people walking, and that's because in this area, everything is so spaced out. Well, there's not a lot in that area other than warehouses and factories, really, until you get to maybe like Dufferin Street. Usually around Dufferin Street, things get a little bit more pedestrian friendly. Lots of parking lots out there. Here's some new condos that went up. I think it's the first real attempt to urbanize the area. As you can see, it's lined with stores on the bottom, and it's right up against the street, sidewalk, basically. So there's no big gap like of a parking area like in those strip malls. You know how they have parking lots in front of strip malls? But there's no strip mall here. The stores line the sidewalk, and that faces right onto the street. And they also built a little outdoor fountain area. So it's a brand new building. I think it's an Italian seniors residence, if I remember. But it's the first attempt to really urbanize the area, and I really like the design. How it's not just a plate of glass for the retail. It's actually got separate retail units. It's a huge improvement from what was there before, because it used to be a grocery store, a Shoppers Drug Mart, with a huge parking lot on the corner. So basically, you just saw a mass of cars when you drove by this area. It was a dead zone to walk in. So now it makes it a lot more visually interesting, and it just feels more urban with that new building there. Now it's the rest of the parking lots that they got to do something with. This area is way too open and too empty. We're coming up to another retail development right here. This is Lawrence Square, and it's kind of a downscale shopping area. It's not well, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not exactly a ghetto mall or anything. It's a mall. It's a suburban mall. It's got a number of kind of stores that people need, like Canadian Tire, and I think there's a Dollarama in there. So yeah, it's a basic mall, and it's right beside the subway. We're coming up to the Lawrence West subway station, so it's handy if you live in the area there. You can just hop on the subway and get there fairly quickly, or you can take the bus from Lawrence subway station, Lawrence West. Well, actually, you walk from Lawrence West. It's really close to the subway. So now we're going over the expressway here, and here is where the subway is, the entrance to the subway. So we're going to get off here, and we are going to head into the Lawrence West subway station, get on to the subway on the Spadina line, and head south to the downtown core. Home sweet home. And I have to admit that I really do feel a lot more comfortable once I get into the downtown core. I don't have to worry about, is the bus running, what time the bus stops, how often does the bus run. You have the subway, you have the streetcars, and you know that they run frequently. So you don't have to worry about, does this bus run on Sundays, what kind of service, does it run after 6 o'clock? Because there are some bus routes that stop at a certain time. I've gone to different places like Pacific Mall in Scarborough, and I waited and waited and waited, and the bus never came. I was there for about 45 minutes in the winter, and then I realized I was on one of the bus routes that they stop at a certain time, and I had missed the last bus. So once you're in the downtown core, everything runs 24/7, and There's always a lot of people around to ask. When you're stuck in suburbia, sometimes there's nobody walking and you're just sort of stranded. You have nobody to ask for directions. I've had that recently when another trip that I took to North York, where I was completely out of my element, lost, and nobody could give me any directions. There were a few people that I stopped and nobody knew where I was going. So they were completely useless in terms of information. So yeah, I was completely like frustrated and flustered in suburbia, defeated by suburbia. So it's nice to get downtown where I basically know where everything is and everything's close by, and you know, I don't know, it just feels safe. It's funny because I actually feel safer in downtown Toronto than I do just walking around suburbia where there's nobody around. You're looking, you're like, where are the people in certain areas of suburbia? We are not going north, we are heading south. The further north you get, the more suburban it gets in Toronto. So if you want to be where the people are, you head south. South of Bloor, a lot of people that live in the downtown core basically stay between where the lake is all the way up to Bloor Street or maybe DuPont, and then from the Don River to about Dufferin. That's basically the downtown core of Toronto that most urbanites stay in, because basically everything's there. You can find almost everything. I mean, there's a couple of things that you can't find in that area. There's no Walmarts in that area. There's a Walmart on Dufferin Street though, which is not too bad. A couple of subway stops out of the core. And then there's the odd furniture store, like where I went today. I headed up north because they had a sale on furniture, and I wanted to check out and see what kind of deals they had. So there are some like electronic stores that are only in the suburbs. There's some like discounted furniture stores, and there's some things like Giant Tiger. I've never been to a Giant Tiger, but they have them in the suburbs, and it's like a big discount store like a Walmart. So you have those kinds of big discount stores that can't afford to be in the downtown core because the rents are too expensive, so they're all in the suburbs. So once in a while you have to trek out to suburbia if you want to check out these kinds of stores. Also like Sears. It's not open anymore, but when Sears was open, the Sears clearance centers were all in the suburbs. And then you have like Great Canadian, I forget what they're called, but you know, these big discount warehouse stores. Costco, you have to go out to the suburbs to find a Costco. So there's certain things that you can't find in downtown. Anyway, that's basically the end of this video. Bus ride, bit of a subway ride. And now we're back home in downtown Toronto.